GitHub Actions is stuck in queued limbo, and the culprit is a database primary that failed over to a replica. If your GitHub Actions jobs are currently stuck in a queued state or waiting indefinitely for a runner to pick up the slack, you are not alone. GitHub has officially confirmed there is an ongoing incident affecting their side platform. The core issue is an issue with a database primary that is currently failing over to a replica. This means the system is struggling to allocate resources properly. So if you have been checking your workflow, runner settings, permissions, or billing, it might not be your configuration. The status page confirms that Actions is affected, and GitHub Pages is also experiencing degraded performance. So if you have been checking your workflow, runner settings, permissions, or billing, it might not be your configuration. This specific incident is documented under the identifier Y1T7P9 FZRLJ2 on their official status page. Hopefully this saves someone else from spending an hour debugging their YAML files, when the root cause is entirely on the provider side. We are looking at a classic infrastructure bottleneck, where the control plane cannot talk to the workers efficiently. The README and the status updates point to a database primary issue as the root cause. When a primary database node fails, the system must initiate a failover to a replica to maintain availability. During this transition, the control plane that manages job scheduling often becomes sluggish or temporarily unavailable. This explains why runners are not checking in or receiving new jobs. The database is the source of truth for who gets which job, and if that source is unstable, the entire queue grinds to a halt. This is a known risk in distributed systems where the control plane is a single point of failure for scheduling logic. The failover process is automated, but it is not instantaneous, and that latency is what you are feeling right now as your pipelines sit in limbo. It is a reminder that even the biggest platforms have fragile underpinnings. The community reaction on the programming subreddit is a mix of resignation and frustration. One commenter pointed out the classic joke about it being another day that ends in a Y. Another user noted that the rate of incidents has been nuts since Microsoft took over, citing constant outages as a new normal. There is also significant notification fatigue. One user shared that they signed up for notifications during the last big incident, and were shocked at how many problems occur every single day, forcing them to unsubscribe by the second day because they received about 5 alerts. Another commenter revealed they spent an hour debugging their self-hosted runners before concluding there must be something wrong on GitHub's end, even though the status page was all green at the time. This highlights the difficulty of distinguishing between user error and platform failure in real time. Before this confirmation, many developers were likely deep in the weeds of their own infrastructure. The natural instinct when a pipeline fails is to blame the code or the configuration. You start by checking your workflow YAML syntax. Then you verify the health of your self-hosted runners. You audit your permissions to ensure the runner can talk to the API. You even review your billing limits to see if you hit a cap. It is a tedious process that consumes valuable developer time. The brief notes that checking these items might not be your configuration, which is a painful realization when you have spent hours staring at a diff. This incident serves as a cautionary tale for home lab tinkerers and enterprise teams alike. Always check the status page before tearing apart your own infrastructure. It saves time and sanity. The outage sparked broader discussions about the state of continuous integration tools. One user mentioned they just switched from GitLab and are not super stoked about the first few pipelines they were looking through, noting that the overall UI and UX seem worse. Another commenter criticized GitHub Actions for being awful, stating that even if it is 100% reliable, it is hard to debug and slow. They also bashed the reliance on pre-built community actions. There was also praise for Jenkins, with one user noting that other platforms are keen on replicating the same problems and refusing to learn from old CI systems. On the other hand, you are not forced to use that WYSIWYG no-code pipeline builder, like you were in Azure pipelines. This reflects the ongoing tension between ease of use and robust reliability in modern CI tools. We want GitHub to work, but we miss the simplicity of the past. In the heat of the outage, some developers shared their deployment philosophies. One commenter simply stated that coding is solved and advised to deploy straight to prod, especially for database changes. This suggests a desire for simpler, more direct paths from code to production. Another user emphasized the importance of handling database changes carefully when bypassing complex CI layers. The lesson here is that when the CI layer becomes a bottleneck, the value of a simple deployment strategy increases. You want to be able to push code and see it run without waiting for a scheduler to wake up. This incident highlights the fragility of relying on a single external service for your entire build pipeline. If that service goes down, your ability to ship code goes down with it. It is a strategic risk that teams need to evaluate. The key takeaway from this incident is simple but powerful. Verify before you debug. When your pipelines fail, the first thing you should do is check the official status page. It is the source of truth for platform health. If the status page shows a green light, then the problem is likely yours. If it shows a red light or a yellow warning about database issues, then you can stop wasting time on your YAML files. This incident with the database primary and the failover to a replica is a perfect example of a platform-level issue that looks exactly like a user-level issue. By checking the status page early, you can save yourself an hour of frustration. It is a small habit that pays off every time the big platforms have their bad days. Stay tuned for updates as GitHub resolves this incident. This outage is a reminder that platform risk is real. We build our entire development workflows on top of these services, and when they stumble, we feel it. It is important to monitor your dependencies and keep backups ready for critical builds. You do not want to be the team that cannot ship because the scheduler is down. I hope this video saved you some time today. If you are still debugging, check the status page first. Thanks for watching ForgeStacx. See you next time. This outage is a reminder that platform risk is real. We build our entire development workflows on top of these services, and when they stumble, we feel it. It is important to monitor your dependencies and keep backups ready for critical builds. You do not want to be the team that cannot ship because the scheduler is down. I hope this video saved you some time today. If you are still debugging, check the status page first. Thanks for watching ForgeStacx. See you next time.